Welcome to Boy Time Podcast. We're gonna get litty time, yeah. Oh, it's your Boy Time Podcast. Coming in with the slam dunk of a theme song.
Hi ho ho, it's me, Elon Musk, not parody, back at it again with a new episode of the Boy Time Podcast. And as always, I'm joined by Babby. Today we're not going to be talking about Twitter. Just going to be throwing that out there. Don't have anything to say, really. But
you should make it a ban appeal.
Oh, I should. That's actually a good point.
It might happen. Ban, change your name to Elon Musk.
And pay money to get it verified and do the same picture. Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, we don't have a lot to talk about this podcast, so this may or may not be a shorter one, but who knows? Not a whole lot has happened. I did go see the Banshees of Inisherin, a movie I talked about a couple weeks ago. Came out, got rave reviews, so I decided, hey, I'll go see it. Babby's gonna be gone this weekend, so I drove to a city where it was playing because it got a very limited release, so I'm very fortunate in the fact that I got to see it. So I'll talk about it a little bit. But aside from that, there really has not been a whole lot. The only gaming thing is that, and this is a funny thing, Palmer Luckey, this came out today as of us recording this. He was the one of the co-founders of Oculus. He has designed a VR headset that will kill the user if they die in the game.
That's awesome.
So if you die in the game, you do die in real life.
Let's go.
And it's not like an elegant procedure either. It's not like a little injection or something or whatever. It's a bomb. There's 3 bombs on top of the headset. So then when the game over screen shows up, they explode your head off. Not the cleanest way to do it, but I guess it is effective. So, don't know why he did this, but it is a thing. And he did show a picture of it. I have not seen it in use. So if they do that, I would like to see a video just because I'm sure it would be funny. It would be like the freaking Dawn of the Dead head explosion. Be awesome. I'm sure it looked exactly like that too. That's it for gaming news.
What?
I know. We're not going to be talking about God of War because as of us recording it, the game is not out. It comes out tomorrow. By the time this podcast comes out, God of War will be out. So next week, I will be talking about God of War because I'm excited. I'm excited to get in, play it. I've been seeing that it's been getting good reviews. And, classic gamer move. Some guy gave it a 6 out of 10, and then he got death threats. So that means that this game is going to be good. Yep. I don't know. Every once in a while, I forget that gamers are the worst group, and then they pull some shenanigans like that. It's like, oh yeah, there you are. Let's talk about show news. Not a whole lot to talk about, but we did get the announcement of The Last of Us premiere date. That is going to be January 15th, so just 2 months away. It'll be 9 episodes in total, and that's it. I don't remember if there was a new trailer. I'm probably not going to watch any more trailers that come out for it.
I don't think there was. I think it was just
the poster. I said you do not know loss, and then everyone was posting the funny comic and the
loss.
It was very funny. I'm excited for that. I'm sure that'll be decent at worst, probably.
Yeah.
If I had to make a gamble. As long as
at worst.
Mid at worst. Yeah. Because the source material is so good that you could just adapt it word for word Watchmen style and it would still be pretty good.
Seems like what they're doing.
Yeah. So, who knows? We'll have to see. I guess the biggest difference is going to have to be if it's shot really well, which Chernobyl is shot very well. So, probably going to be good. I don't know. We'll see, but we'll watch that when it comes out. We'll take a break from our gabagool to eat mushrooms or something. There's no food in The Last
It
of
was
Us,
some
really.
kind of.
It's a fungus.
It's a fungus.
Fungus zombies. We're going to have to do our best, like, clicker impression when the show comes out, because that's possible to do with a human mouth.
Yeah, somehow.
Sure someone's out there can do it. Let's move on to movie news. This is going to be the shortest podcast of all time. Movie news. Dan Harmon, the guy who did Community and Rick and Morty, among other things, working on the Community movie, he confirmed that Donald Glover is going to be in it. Don't know how much he's going to be in it, but he is going to be in it. I would like him to be in the whole thing, because I think the Troy and Abed dynamic is one of the best in the show. And once Donald Glover left that show, it definitely fell off a little bit. But, you know, it's okay. I'm excited for the movie. I probably won't watch it because it's on Peacock, but... Or, you know, I could find an illegal way to watch it.
123movies.
123movies.com, baby. Or maybe it'll be posted on YouTube like Dawn of the Dead is.
Or Who Killed Captain Alex.
Or Who Killed Captain Alex. By the way, they're ramping up. They started shooting for Who Killed Captain Alex 2. I'll have to...
I'm so excited.
Isaac Nabwana. Yes. They were shooting at Lunkulu Island. So, you know, going away from Kampala, Uganda. So it's kind of crazy. They flew everybody out. Well, I doubt that. I doubt they flew everybody out. My guess is they probably just... I don't know. I don't know where Lunkulu Island is. Maybe I should look that up. Because maybe they did. Maybe they took a big ferry out with all their tanks and chain guns and stuff. It's 42 kilometers away from Kampala. So they probably drove there. Or had a really long walk carrying around a lot of camera equipment and props and stuff. But good on ya. Good on ya, Hollywood. I will support you until the day I die. Even though they did make a post that said that I love Ohio. So that did make me lose a couple points. But they liked everybody. Well, pretty much. It was a little weird. The guy who runs Hollywood is Isaac Nabwana Mzi. I don't know if I'm probably not pronouncing that right. But like from like all of October, he was just saying I love, and then he would insert like either a state in the U.S. or like a random South American / Latin American country. It was a little weird. And then he had to do Mississippi twice because he did the wrong flag. He did the old flag, and then a day later he did the updated flag, but didn't delete the old one. So, yeah, gotta love Hollywood. Good stuff. Also, we got some little news about Across the Spider-Verse. I think it's already been confirmed that Oscar Isaac is going to be playing Spider-Man 2099, and then Issa Rae is going to be playing Spider-Woman. But today we got, well, not today, but this week we got confirmation that Daniel Kaluuya himself is going to be playing Spider-Punk. I would have liked it if they got Ozzy Osbourne.
I want Tobey Maguire with the emo hair from Spider-Man 3.
I would not be surprised if they did that. Now that he was in that new Spider-Man movie, maybe they'll bring him in for the animation. And what else is Tobey Maguire doing now?
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's in Babylon, that Damien Chazelle movie coming out. But good, you know, I like Daniel Kaluuya. I don't know if, has he voice acted anything before? I don't know if he's done that.
Not that I've seen him in.
Yeah. I think he's probably one of the best actors around right now. Everything I've seen him in has been great. even Kick-Ass 2.
Mm,
Great film.
the best of the series.
Yes, I would say. No, it doesn't look like he's done any voice acting, so this will be his first one. Good for him. That's it for news this week. This is the slowest week ever. Unless you want to talk about Twitter or the midterms, and I refuse.
Yeah, no, I'm just watching CNN. I'm not going to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't
Call
wanna-
of Duty came out.
Oh, Call of Duty did come out.
Yeah, that
Yes,
happened.
it did. Football Manager 2023 also came out.
Yes, of course. The big sales battle of the year.
Exactly right.
Football Manager versus Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Yes.
It's a close race. I think Modern Warfare 2 like sold the most copies out of like any COD.
Ever?
Like, first week, yeah.
Oh, first week. But it has mixed
Yeah.
reviews.
It does have mixed reviews
What?
because it's a mixed game, I would say.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Some criticism is very warranted. Some criticism is people being babies. But
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm having fun with it so far.
Okay.
It's it feels well. It runs very nice. First off, I'm on a low end PC for nowadays. I would say the 1060. Although my processor is really good this time, so that's probably why it's running a lot better. But I can get a consistent 70 FPS, so
Okay.
that's all I care about. It's not like the first Modern Warfare where it literally bricked my computer every time I tried to play it.
Yes.
I think they released the campaign early because like I bought it like 2 days early, and then I could play the campaign.
Yes.
I got through a couple missions. I haven't beat it yet. It's an interesting campaign. I think on the second mission, you have to like go across the U.S.-Mexico border, and then you have to aim your gun at civilians to like de-escalate the situation on
Which
a border
is-
town.
Which
And
is
then-
accurate.
Yeah, and then you walk into a house because you're like, so you're special forces, so you can just barge into people's houses without a warrant, and then you just shoot two civilians because one guy reaches for a gun in self-defense in his own home. So you just bop two people in their own house. It's really cool.
I don't see a
Yeah.
problem here. These are American soldiers?
Yeah, these are, I think so. I don't know. It's like
Okay.
it's like they're like little task force. They're like special ops.
Spec
They're not
ops.
they're not quote unquote under a flag, even though they are just like NATO.
They're NATO.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's kind of a fun campaign. I try to ignore like all the BS that they put in that stuff.
The propaganda stuff.
Yeah, because it's very blatant in those games. They didn't do a highway of death situation so far,
Well, that's
which is
good.
good. Where
That's
they just
good.
completely blame a U.S. war crime on Russia for some reason.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Well, you know the reason.
Yeah.
Because Russians don't play COD.
But the campaign's decent. Multiplayer is pretty fun. The weapon system is very different, but it's actually kind of cool. It's like you get a base weapon because it works like real life now, where it's just a receiver makes your gun different with your different ammo types. So you have to like go on a whole bunch of unlock trees to like get a whole bunch of different weapons, and instead of just like getting to a certain level to unlock them. And there's like 180 camos or something. So it's a very different system. It's kind of cool. But they have a lot of marksman rifles and a lot of battle rifles, which is cool because I always love doing like the little tiny snipers. The little lever actions are really fun to play with. So there's
Yeah.
like a ton of those. The UI is garbage in this game. I don't know who the UI UX specialist is over there, but this is like the most complicated like game menu system I've ever seen. It's so crowded, and it shouldn't be. Like there's a lot in the gunsmith to play around with, but it shouldn't be this complicated looking. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna overhaul it in the first season, but it's rough. Like it takes like 4 menus to get to your gun attachments, and then 5 menus to get to like camouflages and everything. And like when you're in the lobby before the game starts, there's UI things overlapping each other with like your
Oh.
daily challenges. I'm like, this has never been an issue, and it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
So overhaul that, please. That's a big no-no. Most of the multiplayer maps are okay. They stuck to a 3-lane this time. But the biggest complaint with the original Modern Warfare was that they didn't want to do 3-lane maps for some god awful reason, because
It's too
3-lane
close
maps
to
are the
MOBAs.
standard, because that's how you make a FPS map. It's always been like that. They're like, nah, we're just gonna make a cave, and then everybody hated it.
Yeah.
But they're back to 3 lanes. So most of these maps work decent. There's been like a couple lawsuits already because I think they're literally taking satellite imagery and then making maps out of satellite imagery, which apparently for some areas of the world is a no-go.
Apparently.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
One of them being a museum map that is directly modeled after a museum, almost 1-to-1 scale, and the museum's like, can we not have that?
Okay.
So they took that out. You were able to play it in the beta, but then they took it out. But I think the biggest war crime of all of them in this game is there's a map where it's the U.S.-Mexico border, and it's like backed up with a whole bunch of cars. The map is just a straight line full of cars. This is like a Gmod level map where someone will like make a map without knowing how to do it. It's something. You could just chuck a nade and blow up 6 cars.
That's
because
great.
it's just cars and nothing else. It doesn't play as bad as I thought it was. I thought it would, but like, why would you do that? Like, you have so much opportunity to make cool maps, and you're like, here's a straight line with a whole bunch of cars.
Hey, it works.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It just works.
It just works.
But yeah, the game is pretty decent so far. I enjoy it. It's a nice little casual fun. I like to play Call of Duty for the first 2 months so I can like do my little camo challenges and get my little completionist itch going, and then I never touch it. So
Yeah, it's weird that like that's the only thing you're like completionist about, or the COD
it's just
skins.
ingrained in me, I think, because I've done it for the past like 14 years of my life. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I'm just a completionist in everything.
Yeah.
now, which isn't the best. I was playing Cult of the Lamb this week, and I was one achievement short, and it was the Sacrifice 10 Followers achievement. And there is like a 20-minute cooldown between you can sacrifice a follower, and I had not sacrificed a follower throughout the entire game because I liked my people too much and I did not want to kill them. So then I had to just sit around for like 3 hours doing other things on my computer while waiting for the cooldown to go down, and then I did it. Now I have 100% on Cult of the Lamb. So don't say I'm not a true gamer. I'm truly out on the grind for these meaningless achievements that get me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's something that me and you have in common.
Yes.
We're both completionists through and through.
Exactly. I complete every game I start.
That's right.
Just don't ask about any of them.
I was gonna say, I'm like, yeah, how's it God of War coming?
Sorry about that. I'm a busy boy.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. I like to come home from my 9 to 5 and boot up some Call of Duty for a couple hours. You know what I mean?
Of course. There's nothing wrong with that.
Simple man.
Yeah. I come home from work and watch really heady art dramas,
Nice.
which is a great transition into the discussion portion of this podcast,
Oh,
because I have seen 3 films.
I've
This
seen
weekend.
a couple films too.
Oh.
I'd like to talk about.
Oh boy. Okay, great. Well, this will be good. Maybe we'll alternate.
Okay.
Because I have seen The Banshees of Inisherin, I saw The Florida Project, and yes, you can call me a film bro now, because I have officially seen every single film bro movie, because your boy watched Interstellar.
Let's go.
That's right. I've earned the title, and I wear my crown with pride. Well, let's talk about stupid movies first, like Banshees of Inisherin. I predicted that this movie was going to be the most Irish movie I had ever seen, and that is true. It came true, of course. I'm a big fan of Martin McDonagh's other work. In Bruges and 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri are probably 2 of the best movies that came out in the 2000s, and, well, just in the century so far, I guess. So this is his big follow-up to Three Billboards. My guess is that this is his COVID movie because it just takes place on this really remote island off the coast of Western Ireland. It's just like one really, really small village, and all of the people who are in it are native Irish people. So my guess is that Martin McDonagh just called up all of his Irish buddies while they were all quarantining or locked down in Ireland, and we're like, hey, let's make a movie. And that's pretty much what this movie is. It has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has like a 4 point. I'll look up the Letterboxd. It has a 4.2 on Letterboxd out of 5. It's been getting rave reviews. It is definitely, I think it's his worst one, which isn't really saying a lot because I did give it a 4 out of 5, but it is such a simple concept that is kind of dragged out to 2 hours. The whole thing is, right, Colin Farrell, the Penguin from the Batman, he is, he's kind of like this guy. He goes to the pub every night. He has a bunch of cattle and he sells milk. And he's super attached to all of his animals, and he has this little donkey that has a little bell on his collar, and he's very cute. And he lives with his sister. And he has this best friend who plays the fiddle, and they both go down to the pub and they just have a fun night every night. And suddenly one day out of the blue, his friend's like, I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be your friend. And that's it. That's the movie for 2 hours. This guy is like, hey, you want to get drinks with me? And this guy's like, no, you suck. I hate you. I'm going to keep writing my epic violin song. And so then he writes this epic violin song. It eventually gets to the point where this guy's like, hey, you stupid idiot. If you don't stop talking to me, I'm going to cut off one of my fingers and throw it at your house with my big shears. And I'm going to do it from my violin hand, the left hand, the one that you use to finger the frets, except violins don't have frets, whatever they're called. And so then Colin Farrell kind of plays this dumb guy. He doesn't really get it, and he's really frustrated because he's really his only friend. Everyone else in the town thinks he's like this stupid guy. Nobody really likes him. He's like kind of known as like a nice guy, but he's boring. So his sister like really wants him to get out of the house because she doesn't really want to talk to him, and she doesn't really want the donkey in the house, which is a shame because the donkey is so cute. Why wouldn't you want the donkey in the house?
There's no good reason to not let a donkey in your house.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, that's the whole movie. It's just, I want to be friends with this guy, and the guy's like, I don't want to be friends with you. You're stupid, and I want to write violin song. That's it. It's really good though. I know I kind of, I don't know. I've seen like people say that this movie has like changed their lives, and it is. I can see why, because there are like moments towards the end, and I don't really want to get into spoilers because there hasn't been like a super massive release yet. But there are like moments in the end where it's just like please talk to each other. Can like, and I don't mean like, get back together or whatever, just like keep being friends. It's just like, just talk. Like both people just like don't communicate with each other, and it's so frustrating to watch, but it's also like completely understandable, and you're getting both of their perspectives where without being said you get what's going on, but it just doesn't seem like that the message is getting through to the other person. So it's very frustrating, and it gets really, really sad at the end. It has a soul crushing ending. And Yeah, but it's a good movie. I'd recommend it. But I would recommend. I think his best is In Bruges, and then it's Three Billboards, and then it's this one. But they're all really good. You can't go wrong with any of these. Banshees is definitely going to be more artsy. This is definitely like a cinematographer's reel movie where they're like, we need to spice up this really simple concept, and then we'll like do like these epic sweeping vista shots and get like the super artsy framing and stuff like that. So it's probably the least accessible. I think the most accessible is Three Billboards, and then it's In Bruges. But there we go. That's my Banshees of Inisherin. Baby, what's your first movie you want to talk about?
I'll go in order in which we watched. I watched the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, that's a great
Oh
movie.
my god,
I
it's
love
really
that
good.
movie.
I really like it.
Yes.
Yeah, every Wes Anderson movie is the same, but I
Yes.
like them every time.
Yes.
Yeah, the color palette and like just the aspect ratio framing and everything in this movie is so good. Yeah, it was just really interesting. I love the way he like writes characters, and like there's just such a weird like narrative,
Yes.
like happy-go-lucky way about everything, and just the delivery of everything is so cool and engaging. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There was like sections where it's like obviously like dioramas that they're like
Yeah.
using as backdrops, but like they look so good still. Yeah, it was really fun. Like, I think I like it better than the French Dispatch. It seems a little bit more
That's fair.
clean and tidy.
Yes.
I mean, obviously this movie gets hyped up
That
a
is-
lot, but
I think it is regarded as his best by most
Yeah.
people except for me.
I would imagine so.
Yes.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I feel like there's not too much to say about it. It's a pretty like it's pretty simple story basically. It's just like super entertaining to go through. It's a little zany, a little quirky,
Yep.
but yeah, I really really enjoyed this one. It's nice and light. I
Yeah.
like these artsy movies that aren't like super heady.
Yes.
This is like an artsy movie that's not super heady, like just because you can like get lost in the colors and framing and aspect ratios and random like stop motion diorama backgrounds and everything
Yeah.
else that gets thrown in.
Wes Anderson's like, I'm a really big Wes Anderson fan, and yes,
Yeah.
all of his movies are exactly the same.
Yes.
Like if you're talking about the story of every single one of his movies, they all follow the exact same beats, which is why I think I like French Dispatch a little bit more than most people. It's because that one like
could see
kind
that.
of broke it up. It doesn't hit the same beats as like, because Grand Budapest and The Life Aquatic and Fantastic Mr. Fox and Royal Tenenbaums, they all kind of have like the same story, but I love all of those movies like pretty much equally. Grand Budapest is the best one out of those, but it's just like, man, every single one of them feels so alive, and it's a world that's so inviting and warm, and it's like I want to live in a Wes Anderson movie. Like it'd be
True.
just so cool.
I mean, everything's orange, and then you got a pop of purple randomly in there.
That's
It's-
right.
Everything's perfect.
I always associate Grand Budapest with purple, and I think it's just because
Yep.
the bellboy always
Yeah.
wears purple. Like each one has like a different color in my mind, except French Dispatch is gray, because
Yes, it is great.
that is a gray movie. Grand Budapest is purple. Fantastic Mr. Fox is orange. Life Aquatic is blue.
What?
I know, hard to believe, but just everyone's wearing blue in that movie. I guess Royal Tenenbaums is like yellow. Or, yeah, I guess that's the only one I can really think of. But yes, I'm glad that you watched that movie, because I think Wes Anderson is definitely someone that you would really dig.
Yeah, because I can watch the movie without like paying attention to them talking.
Yes, because you're a visual man,
Yeah.
and that is all Wes Anderson does is make some killer visuals. Well, that's good. That's good. That's a good movie to watch. Period. If you have not seen the Grand Budapest Hotel, you got to check it out. It's a little movie. I don't think anyone's ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's a little indie film.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a real indie film called The Florida Project. This movie is, oh, it hurt my heart watching it. I keep watching these super depressing movies, and I don't really mean to. I thought this was going to be a cute little coming of age movie about some kids growing up in like the Florida. They grow up in like a motel that's like kind of an apartment complex, I guess. It's very like low class though. So I thought it was going to be like a cute little coming of age thing. It was an A24 picture. Should have known that it was going to be depressing when I saw those, characters show up at the beginning. I saw Willem Dafoe was in it. I'm like, oh boy, Willem Dafoe.
I love Willem Dafoe.
I love Willem Dafoe. I saw someone's Letterboxd review for this movie was Willem Dafoe more like Willem Friend, because he is a good person in this movie, in like the first time ever. Because Willem Dafoe is always the bad guy, including the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Nice.
Do you remember that? Remember him? He gets his fingers chopped off.
Oh yeah. I do
Right? Right?
Yes.
That's him?
I think that's him. I don't know.
Someone gets their fingers chopped off, and I think it's Willem Dafoe. I don't remember.
No, I think Willem Dafoe chops off the fingers.
Willem Dafoe chops off the fingers.
Because he's the Nazi guy.
Yes. Doesn't he go on a sled ride or something?
Yeah.
Skis?
It's like super fast. No,
Yeah.
yeah, he goes on a ski.
Skis.
And
Yes.
he goes like 10 million miles per hour for no reason.
I don't know. It's fun. So he's no longer the bad guy. He's no longer the Green Goblin. We can rule this city, small, poor child, or we can I fight to the death. I have not seen Spider-Man 1 in so long. Yeah, he plays the landlord, but he's a good landlord. I know that's an oxymoron, but
That was an oxymoron.
but he's not the owner. He's like the manager, I guess. So he's like the guy who like fixes stuff. And he does
So not a landlord.
not a landlord. No. The boss, the landlord, only shows up like once, and he gets on everybody's case, and he rails into Willem Dafoe for letting people leave their bikes outside. But yes, so the whole story follows a small 6-year-old girl and her mom, who is, I would say like early to mid 20s. I think it's implied that it was a teenage pregnancy that she kept. But they are very, very like down and out. The mom does not have a job. She buys perfume wholesale and then stands outside country clubs to sell it to wealthy people for profit. And so she, not a lot of money. And it is just told from the kid's perspective for the most part. And there are a lot of things that like are implied to be happening. But it's kind of shown through like a kid's point of view. So it's not like entirely clear because a kid wouldn't really know what's going on with all these adult things. But Willem Dafoe is probably the best part of this movie.
As always.
Always is. I love Willem Dafoe. But he is someone who genuinely looks out for the best interest of these kids. He can be a little stern, he has a rough exterior, but deep down he like genuinely cares about these kids and wants them to live their best life. There are scenes where like the mom is having issues finding a room, getting a place to live. Willem Dafoe helps, put down the down payment. And there's a scene where there's a child predator talking to the kids, and Willem Dafoe beats him up. He's a good guy. You can say that he's a nice guy. But yeah, it's really great. I don't really want to get too much into spoilers here either, even though it's an older movie. I think it came out in like 2017, 2018. Because the ending of the movie was such a gut punch. It was back to back because I watched Banshees of Inisherin on Friday night, and then Saturday afternoon I watched this movie, and ow, let me just say that the ending of this movie is so depressing. They try to like lift it up a little bit at the end and be like, yeah, no, it doesn't work. You cowards, I hate you. You ruined my life. Well, not my life. You ruined my weekend for sure. And then I watched Interstellar, which also made me sad. So it was not a good time. I watched Interstellar like a couple hours later. So yeah, I had an interesting weekend, but I would recommend the Florida Project. I think I also gave that one 4 stars. Because that one, it was really good. Let me see. Sort by when I saw it. Here we go. Oh, I gave it 4.5 stars. I think that's deserved. But it is tough to watch. But well worth it if you can find it. It's only an hour 40 minutes, so pretty easy.
That's like nothing.
Compared to Interstellar, yes, it is.
Yeah, true.
So that's it for the Florida Project. What was the next movie you saw?
Speaking of hard to watch, we watched My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, that's a good movie too.
True. Yeah.
True.
This was like the easiest movie ever to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not much of a plot or anything. It's just kind of nice to look at. Like, there isn't too much going on in this thing because it really is just like the kids movie.
Yes.
It's like the mainstream one. But yeah, I still thought it was really good. Animation's fantastic. Just like the backgrounds and everything are just so good, so good. I'm gonna start trying to get into like other Ghibli things. I thought Totoro would be like a good,
That's a good
easy
entry.
way in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was pretty good. For a kids movie, I can't really say anything else about it. I mean, I definitely get like the Totoro marketing and merchandising and all that stuff.
Yes.
I didn't know there was a cat bus in that movie, and the cat bus is my favorite part of that movie.
Yes, there's a cat bus in the movie.
It just makes no sense either, but like I loved a cat bus.
Yeah, I know. That's like, I've seen so many people dress up their cat as the cat bus. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is the only acceptable cat costume, I think.
Exactly. But I mean, like, the cat design for it is still, like, really good. Like, everything just looks so good. But yeah, incredibly chill. To the point where, like, you can kind of half watch it, and you won't really miss much, because there's not too much going on with this thing.
No,
Unless there's, like, some deep hidden lore on this movie that I'm not keen to, but...
not
honestly,
this movie.
Yeah. No, not this movie. This is, like, one of the only Ghibli movies.
Yeah, the other Ghibli's, yes.
Yeah.
Which I think when I saw it, it was pretty late into my Ghibli deep dive.
Yeah, I think this is good because, like, this is my entry point, but
Yes.
I know well that I'm going to like pretty much everything else better than this.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
this is good.
Yes. Yeah. That was my issue, was I saw it late. And so I'm like, oh, this is like way worse than
Yeah.
all of the other ones. But I think seeing this one first is good.
Yes.
Um,
I'm going to push for Howl's Moving Castle next. We'll
that
see.
that one is Grant's favorite.
Okay.
I do like
I
that
love
one
the
too.
music in that one, so...
Yes, that one's great. It has Christian Bale and
That's good.
Billy Crystal's in it.
Mm.
It's great. I love Billy Crystal. Whenever he's in something, it's like, that's Mike Wazowski. Yeah. Yes, I recommend that one. You should probably watch Spirited Away. That's like
Yeah,
that's
we were
Ghibli
going to watch that
homework.
one, and we shifted to Totoro.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning?
My favorite is Princess Mononoke,
Okay.
which that's not a hot take, but very, very good. I still need to see The Wind Rises. That one, Grant just got that. on Steelbook. If you remember, when we went to Barnes & Noble, he did do that.
True.
Who knows? Maybe this weekend I'll watch it. Probably not. Okay, let's talk about Interstellar. Interstellar. I really like this movie. I think this was my favorite one of the bunch. I wish I didn't have to say that. I went into it being like, this is going to be some pretentious, convoluted Christopher Nolan bullshit. And then I was in. I was in like the first 10 minutes. I was gripped. This is, I hate to say it, I think this might be the most straightforward Christopher Nolan sci-fi thing. I don't want to count the Dark Knight stuff because those are just, those are superhero movies. Like, those are meant to be accessible. I'm talking about like Chris Nolan movies. This is like the most straightforward, which might be controversial. And maybe it's just because I kind of get the science around it. Because I'm super into all science stuff. I like watching science YouTube videos and stuff. I'm a science man. Nerd. I'm a little bit of a nerd, but so like I think a little bit of it is confusing because of how like they handle time, which is something that Christopher Nolan likes to mess with. Because they're going out, they're going on a colony, they're trying to save the planet because this takes place in like a alternate future where there is a blight. There is some sort of virus that has taken over the planet, but it doesn't affect humans, it affects crops. So every 5 or 6 years, this virus mutates to completely wipe out one species of crop. So by the time it's like Matthew McConaughey's time, when the story starts, okra completely knocked out. Basically, the only thing that is left to grow on this planet is corn. So like everybody on the planet is pretty much dead. Like the entire governmental system is like over. Everything is kind of in shambles. And so then Matthew McConaughey finds like NASA. NASA has become like this underground like sleeper thing. I don't know. It's like a secret agency kind of, because NASA was officially shut down by the U.S. government because NASA would not drop missiles on starving people. That's kind of the world that we're in. So, and it's kind of like been accepted that NASA were like the bad guys. We never went to the moon. We never space exploration. The whole, the idea of creating machines, these worthless machines to go up into space, they're the bad guys. They're the whole reason we didn't curb the blight to begin with. Which, says a lot about society. And I don't totally disagree with that, I guess, if we're talking about billionaires and space stuff. But, yeah, he finds NASA and Michael Caine is like, I want you to go into space, and I'm going to figure out how to get everyone on the planet into this building. We're going to go into space too. And it's great. And Matthew McConaughey is like, yes, I was a pilot for the Air Force, I think. It's like, I'm going to drive this rocket, and I'm going to put it into a warp hole that's next to Saturn, and then we're going to go explore the galaxy, and it's super cool. So they go out into the galaxy, and I think I'm going to get a little bit into spoilers because, it's Interstellar. They go out into the galaxy. It's great. Anne Hathaway's there, and she's like, I'm super cool. She's a cool scientist lady. But the big twist, I guess it's not really a twist. It's just like the end of the first act. They go to they have 3 planets that they check out that are like, these may or may not be able to support life. So they go to the first one, and they're like, okay, every every hour we spend on this planet is going to be 7 years back on Earth, because this planet, all of the planets in this galaxy are orbiting a black hole instead of a star like ours is. And because the closer you get to a black hole, your perception of time changes. That's Einstein's relativity. So the closer you get, this planet is relatively close to the black hole. So when you're on it, your perception of time is completely different, and time itself changes. So they, touch down, mission goes wrong. They're on the planet for way too long, way longer than expected. They were just going to be on there for a couple minutes, get some data, and then head back up. Uh-oh. Big oopsie. They're on there for a couple hours. They have been out of communication from NASA and their families for upwards of 20 years. And there's the scene. The scene, you've seen it. It's like a gif of Matthew McConaughey crying. It's from this scene. Matthew McConaughey is like devastated. He had his 10-year-old daughter and like a 15-year-old son. So he's like watching back these messages that they've gotten over the like 27 years they've been gone, even though it was like 3 hours or something. So he's just sitting there watching his kids grow up and like slowly lose faith that he's going to come home. And he starts really happy. He's like, oh, his son's like, I met this chick in school. I think she's the one. And then then they have a baby. And then it's just like, then 5 years later, and then 5 more years later, grandpa died. Sorry. And then it just like keeps going, and it gets more and more and more. And then the stakes are just super high because Matthew McConaughey wants to get home as soon as possible because his daughter is now older than he is, which is a little bit trippy. But it's Interstellar, baby. It's a good movie. I couldn't bring myself to give it 5 stars because I didn't want to fall too far down the film bro rabbit hole. I only gave it 4.5 stars. At this point, I should probably give it the perfect score because it was really, really good. I honestly, I think this one sits right under The Dark Knight for me. But I'm not usually a big fan of Chris Nolan stuff, but now I'm in. I'm going to have to, I don't know what Christopher Nolan movies I haven't seen. I guess Tenet. I've seen Inception. I've seen all the Dark Knights. I've seen Dunkirk. I've seen Memento. So now I just got to watch Tenet, which I've heard is confusing and mid. So, great. So that's my review of Interstellar. Very, very good. If you have the chance to watch it, do. It's a very good movie. So, you have any more movies?
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't either.
If I do, they weren't important enough for me to remember them at the moment.
That's right.
So,
The Whale, the Brendan Fraser
Whale.
movie, by Darren Aronofsky and A24. That got its first trailer today. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to save it for the movie. I'm going to go in completely blind. I love Brendan so much. I think that comes out like December 9th or something, so we got like a month. So that's it. That's it for movie news. We can move on to the La Música.
La Música.
Sí.
Sí. All right. We got some stuff this week. We got some stuff.
What?
Let's start with We'll start with Joji.
Okay.
We'll make you wait for Drake for 1 second.
I'm so
Joji
excited.
Released a new album, Smithereens.
Oh boy. I haven't listened to it yet.
24 minutes long.
I have no excuse.
It's an album, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like 4 songs on here.
Okay.
Everything else feels like an interlude into something, but it never goes into something. Like the album ends with like a demo followed by an interlude followed by a freestyle.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah. The longest song is like 3:53. That's Glimpse of Us. I really like that song. And then Feeling Like the End was the second track. Nothing really happens in that song. It feels like it's going to build up to something, but then it just kind of ends. Um, I think Before the Day Is Over and Dissolve were pretty good. I also like Night Rider. So there's some good stuff on here. It's just like it doesn't feel like a. I didn't get the fulfillment of like that was an album I just listened to. It felt like just like a lot of like ideas that were getting there, but then just were like cut short before they have like a full 3.5 minute song.
Sure.
And it didn't work like an Earl Sweatshirt type thing either, where like everything kind of built with each other. It kind of just like it sounded like an Urban Outfitters like radio that's just on. It's like the alternative music playlist that they'd put on. There wasn't anything that like stood out a ton, which is unfortunate because I think Nectar was like really strong. I was excited to see where he was headed.
Steez? Yeah.
Yeah, because this doesn't seem like there's any significant anything to take from this. It just seems like a collection of songs. I still think Glimpse of Us is really good, but I don't know. I feel like Night Rider might be my second favorite out of that, but I don't know. I don't know how to feel. It's just it's just there. I don't know if I'll return to it. It's just kind of a thing.
Okay.
This feels like something you would like surprise drop and not do promo for.
Yeah.
Then I feel like I'd like it a little bit more. But I was expecting like this is the next step.
Yeah, that's what I was
big
kind of
album.
expecting too, because Glimpse of Us was so good.
Yeah, and then this is what happened. So
So sad.
maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm not. I feel kind of on this thing.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll listen to it and I'll tell you how I feel.
Yeah,
Although,
tell me how wrong I am.
Although I'm probably going to maybe say it worse than you, because I have not been too big of a fan of either of Joji's projects. So,
Yeah, he's still not my thing, but I feel like I need to give him a fair shake every time.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to Nectar. I was really looking forward to it. I love those singles.
And then the rest of it was kind of
There's good songs on there, but
yeah.
yeah.
I'm just not into the sad boy wave.
I'm not
really.
either. I'm not either. Yeah.
I was gonna talk about Drake, but I forgot to talk about Taylor Swift.
Oh, you
we're gonna
coward.
Talk about Midnights.
Stop making me
Debated.
wait.
Debated. Midnights. We're very late on this, but that's okay.
That's fine.
Because whatever. This album's pretty decent. There's definitely like a mixed bag of things here. I feel like the theme of today is just a gigantic mixed bag. Because I really like Lavender Haze and Maroon. Those open up pretty well. Anti-Hero I can go without. Snow on the Beach is not my thing at all. You're on Your Own Kid was pretty nice. I don't remember all of these. One of them is just like a blatant Billie Eilish song. But not really done that well. The main gripe I have with Midnights is that it feels like the writing quality that from Folklore and Evermore with like all these like really cool interwoven stories and everything is just not here at all.
Yeah, I don't know if that was what she was
it's just
going
replaced
for.
with like Tumblr quotes at this
Yeah.
point. I think like the first line of one of the songs is like draw the cat eye sharp enough to kill a man or something. Like that's there's like a very like 2013 writing style here that doesn't work when she tries to like make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Karma is really good as well. I do really like Karma. I did not listen to the 3 a.m. version yet.
Wow.
Might
You
do
call
that
yourself a
eventually.
music reviewer.
Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty decent. I feel like I need to listen to it one more time. It's been a couple days since I've heard it. Upwards to a week at this point, probably. But there's some good stuff in here. So I think there's a little something for everyone here. But I think it's going to be rare that it has a lot for anybody.
Okay.
I feel like the diehard Swifties are going to like this thing a lot.
They do.
But more casual fans are going to be like, I'll take this song, and this song, and then leave the rest. And that's kind of what I'm doing here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I listened to like the first 3 songs and I'm like, this isn't Folklore or Evermore. I'm whatever.
No.
So
Definitely not.
yeah. So I don't
All
know.
right, let's talk about Drake.
Yeah,
Yay.
Drake. I
Drake.
love Drake. I haven't
Oh
listened to
my
it yet.
god. It's an hour long. I don't know why it's an hour long.
It's good.
It's not worth the hour. Um, yeah, Her Loss, 21 Savage and Drake. This is a Drake featuring 21 Savage album. They marketed it as a collab album. It's not really a collab album.
Oh, what a
I think
coward.
Drake has like 75% of the words on this thing.
Oh.
So it is not distributed evenly. I think he kind of just uses 21 Savage as a like training wheels. Like when he doesn't know how to like fully complete a song, he just kind of throws them in there.
Great.
The intro is really weak. In my opinion, I did not get anything from it. Drake's just like 21. Can you do something for me for like half the song, and then 21's like yeah, yeah, and then he does his 21 things, and then there's like this weird beat switch where Drake just starts singing off key for some reason. Really strange, but then the next two songs are pretty good. Major Distribution's pretty good, and On BS is maybe my favorite. That's what I wanted, was they would just go back and forth over like a hard beat. That's all I want with these. I don't need like Drake sing songy, which
Yeah.
we get a lot here for some reason. There's also a lot of songs where it's just Drake and not 21 Savage, so I feel kind of lied to there, but that's fine. Back Outside Boys is just a Gunna song, but it's not horrible. It's just not. It doesn't sound like Drake at all. But props, because it's not horrible.
Okay.
Hours in Silence doesn't need to exist. Spin About You is pretty decent. Hours in Silence is 640. Oh my god, that definitely doesn't need to exist. Broke Boys is really good. I did really enjoy Broke Boys. That felt like a 2015 Drake song. There are definitely moments where like they're able to like carry momentum off of each other, like you should be able to do when you're in a collab hip hop album. It's all about momentum and like knowing when to add verses where. Sometimes some of these songs feel like it's just Drake, and then they just throw a 21 feature in there just to fill some space, because Drake is obsessed with releasing only like hour-long albums so he can get the maximum streams possible off of every single thing. Which, you know, go off, I guess. Middle of the Ocean is actually a very good Drake solo song. Like,
Okay.
one of his best in the past, like, I don't know, 6 years at this point. Really enjoyed that one. A lot of clever wordplay. It's worth the 6-minute length. That wasn't really boring at all. Beat's great. It feels like some classic Drake,
Oh yeah.
which is good. I like it. The last like 4 songs on this album don't really need to exist. That or I was just kind of bored at that point. I feel like this went on too long. I feel like a really great collab album between these two would be like, 10 tracks, cut out all this filler that you have in there, and then you got a really good one. But yeah, I mean, Drake wasn't horrible on this thing. There's definitely some questionable bars because it's Drake and he's really strange and weird. And it's really uncomfortable at some points because he's like, it's Drake. I mean, nobody wants to hear that from Drake. There's a lot of very sus lines on this album. Not from 21 Savage either.
Really?
There's a couple sus lines from 21 Savage, but like, within reason for him. But I feel like Drake just went out of pocket on this thing.
What did he say this
honestly,
time?
What's a good line? Well, he made like a weird Megan Thee Stallion line, which was strange. Which he didn't need to do at all. People are still bringing up that shooting, even though like we know someone shot, or Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion, but he's still like, ooh. So that was a little weird. There's just, I don't know if there's like one specific to pick out. It's just like he's really gross for no reason.
I feel like that's just Drake's
And
whole
it's
shtick
really
at
awkward.
this point.
Yeah, it is. Like the whole Certified Lover album, Lover Boy album, kind of like was like that, and then this album he kind of just went off with it. But with that being said, this is probably the best thing he's released since Views. So
Okay.
Better than Scorpion, better than Certified Lover Boy, definitely better than Honestly Nevermind. Um, yeah, I mean it's not horrible. I'm taking a couple songs from this, so
Wow.
good job, Drake. You made something mediocre, and it only took like bringing 21 Savage with you for a lot of this. But honestly, if that's what you got to do, if you got to have someone to like be your training wheels, do that. Because I feel like he's literally out of things to talk about.
Oh, for sure.
I think he's definitely run out of material.
Yeah.
Which, there's no shame in that. But like maybe that would help if you didn't release an album like every like 6 months
Yes.
with an hour worth of material. That just a thought. But
Stupid.
I didn't hate this. So
Okay. Okay.
doing something good.
Well, honestly, I give Your Existence a light to moderate one.
Yeah, there was no Anthony Fantano diss lines, so
That's too bad.
that was kind of unfortunate. I
Yeah.
would have really liked some of those. I feel like you really have to get your ego back there, Drake. You gotta regain some of your confidence there.
Yeah, you gotta swing at Fantano if you're
Yeah.
gonna swing.
Exactly, and he didn't. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that is too
He had a
bad.
whole hour to do it, and he didn't.
Oh, he always was a coward.
Maybe next time. Maybe this album was done by the time that happened.
Maybe.
Maybe on the next album he'll make a nice little comment
Oh, I hope so.
in his most Drakeiest way. I'm
That
trying to
is
think of
good.
like how Drake would put that, but I can't do that right now. I'd have to think about it for a minute. Now there's a certain way that Drake raps. That like anybody, there's like a million like banger tweets because people have nailed the way that he writes bars because they're like super cheesy but not cheesy enough to be like, why did you say that?
Yes.
It's a very specific type. That's what he does really well on that one song. It's like, okay, that was clever. You're giving me a little bit of an eye roll, but it also goes kind of hard. Like that's basically that style.
I see.
But yeah, not bad, not bad. I mean, it was very tolerable. Besides like the last 4 tracks, I got through like 45 minutes strong, and then I was like, okay, wrap it up.
Okay.
But there's a lot of mid this week. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Brockhampton released a song. It's called "The Big Pussy."
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like it. There's a cool like jazz sample in it. It feels very different from everything they've done. I'm expecting, based on like the cover art for this album, that I just want it to be absolutely off the wall crazy because this song is very chaotic, but I really like it.
Yeah, it might be.
But we'll see. I think that comes out a couple weeks. Next week?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
You tell me.
Let's see.
You're
November
the ginger
17th.
stand. November 17th? That's next week.
Yeah. November 17th is next Thursday, and then Wise Blood comes out November 18th, which is that Friday, which is interesting.
Oh.
So,
It's because they didn't want to drop at the same time.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's cool, I guess. But, yeah. That's all the music. I did go to the Godspeed You Black Emperor concert
Okay.
yesterday. That was a trip.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like that was a very interesting concert because it's not like a concert you usually go to.
No.
There was zero talking. Like, nobody on stage said a single word for the entire concert. The opener, I forgot who the opener, what the name of the group was, but I thought they were the sound guys for the first little bit. Because there's no intro or anything. They kind of walked on stage, picked up the instruments, the lights cut down, and then they started going. And then when they were done, they put their instruments down and walked off. And then the band came on and then walked off when they were done. So there was no intros, there was no anything.
Okay.
So it was very interesting. But the opener was like, it was 2 dudes, one guy on a drum kit and one guy on a guitar. Very experimental, very out there. The guy in the drums is going absolutely ham. Like the angle we were sitting at, like we had pretty good seats. Like you could see everything from where we were kind of like elevated a little bit. But yeah, the dude was like blasting the kick drum for like most of it. And they did like a 35 to 40 minute straight piece with no breaks. It was all one fluid piece. And this guy's just going crazy on this drum kit for the whole time. Uh, and he brought out multiple sections where there was like he used mini gongs that he put on his wrist and mini cymbals he put on his wrist, and he'd have bowls that he puts on the drum kit and then hits the bowl on
Oh,
top of the drum kit with like a cloth and everything. So it, it was more like a magic show than it was a performance, honestly, now that I think about it. It
okay.
was like a whole stage show because the guy on the guitar was doing some weirdo stuff too. Everything was very atonal and not normal. Um, it's a cool push and release because there was a lot of like a guitar is not supposed to sound like that, but you have to do something special to make it sound like that. But then all of a sudden, like eventually there'd be like an actual chord that you recognize and be like, oh, that's nice. Before it goes like super atonal again. But they were using looper pedals, so they build like an entire like sound stage off of two instruments. Like you'd loop one pattern you'd go off of and then go out over it with another one. Um, it was like a very, very interesting experience. I don't know what we witnessed. It was just kind of a thing that happened. He was like, like those capo things you put on the neck of the guitar, whatever those are called.
Yes, capos.
Yes, he was playing above that at one point, and it made really interesting noises. Like he was using it wrong intentionally. Um, and at one point, like he turned the amp up way too much intentionally, and then he would do a chord, let it ring, and then like put the neck of the guitar on the ground and scrape it across to make like a different like noise.
Oh,
It was very interesting. Um, and all this is incredibly loud. Like I brought earplugs because I was told that these concerts are way too loud for your little baby ears, which is true. So I brought earplugs, which was clutch because oh my god, like I took one earplug out like during like a loud part of their intro or a loud part of the opener, and it was so loud, like I could not believe it. And that was only two people. But yeah, that was just the opener. Everybody loved it. They got like a 5 minute clap after. Um, I don't think anybody had any idea who they were either. I think Godspeed intentionally picks like really obscure like experimental artists to do this for them. Um, but yeah, definitely not the way I've ever seen somebody play a guitar or a drum kit. It was bizarre in the best way possible. It was kind of mesmerizing because like it's not music you'd ever listen to because it's very atonal and weird and barely music. But at the same time, you're kind of just entranced watching these people just like go absolutely ham on their instruments. And every once in a while, there'd be like a really nice hypnotic section that would go on, and you get kind of lost in it. But it was cool. Um, but then the actual show started. So I think there was three guitarists, a violinist, two bassists. One of the bassists would do an upright bass for a couple songs, and then two drummers. Um, there were no lights on during the entire show. The only thing was a projector behind them. We could barely see like what they were doing, so I don't know how they knew what they were doing. But every single one of them had their own amp, um, over the top of like the sound system that's at the concert venue. So you have that going, plus you have their extra amps that they do, um, which was crazy loud. But they started with like a 5 minute drone. This starts like there's like a couple breaks between it, but they're only like a minute break. So as soon as you hear this drone come in, this is the last time you hear nothing for about an hour 45. The rest of it is just constant wall of noise almost. Um, but yeah, after the opener and like all the weird atonal dissonance of that guitar, you hear these guitars and it's like, oh my god, I forgot what a guitar sounds like, because that man murdered his guitar. So I'm glad I'm like hearing actual chords now. Um, but they played a lot of the new record to begin with. It was very good. Made me appreciate some of those songs a lot more. Hearing them live, they felt a lot more emotive and like full. Um, but those are really nice. Like you get in such a hypnotic groove because it's different when you physically like feel the music rumbling with you. Um, and every little thing that they change, you can hear. It sounds exactly like the studio version too. They're like so in sync with each other. But they started working backwards in their discography. I think they played a couple off of Luciferian Towers that were like super mean and super out there. Those are really, really nice. the projector was basically the only guide of like what you were, kind of experiencing. There was no other stage light show or anything, which is cool. You kind of just get to focus up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very meditative experience, just because like there is nothing else to focus on but the sound you're hearing, which is I think very good stage design and intentional from them because like you're there for the music, that's all you're getting.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, they worked their way backwards. I don't remember. They didn't do anything from Yankee, unfortunately. I think they switch up their set quite a bit. So, but the two big boys at the end, because they kind of worked backwards and they knew everybody was waiting for the big hitters. So we got Storm. No, we got Static off of Lift Your Skinny Fists, and then we got East Hastings from F sharp, A sharp as the final track. I could tell because like I know a lot of their newer discography, but it's hard for me to pick out specific songs, especially with like their new record. I could get a couple off of Luciferian Towers, but as soon as like you hear that one thing from Static, it's like, oh, here we go. And what happened with that was like, so they do improvised versions of those old songs, so there was different parts of it that were actually really nice. It's like almost an improved concert version of it because Static has a lot of like field recordings in it. So they switched it up, added some different sections. It sounded incredible live from like the very small like ominous start to it to like the build up. And I get like insane goosebumps and everything when I get the build up like through headphones on a studio version. But when you're live and you feel it and the energy in the room like rises with you, that crescendo on like the big crescendo of that song that goes on for about 6 minutes was like absolutely crazy. I think everybody was out of breath after that, because like it literally like lifts you up. There's so much noise and vibrations and everything happening, and you get a projector that just has like a burning city in the background. There was something different that was happening. Like my head was like physically lifting up, like I could not do anything. I was suspended in this gigantic like wave of sound for like 4 minutes, and it was like the best feeling possible. And then they finally let it down and everybody can like breathe again, and I didn't know what to do. It was like a shock moment where I'm like, what just happened to me? So that was crazy. And then they went into East Hastings for the final track right after that. And they kind of teased it a little bit. They did it incredibly slow. There's this one little riff of that song that everybody kind of knows. So they played like two notes of that and everybody knew what was about to happen. And then they did like a 25-minute version of it. It was a lot more mean than the studio version. There was a lot more. They built it off a wall of noise at first. They'd play like three notes of that like continuous guitar riff that everybody knows. Then they do a wall of noise to back it up, and then they do it again before they finally launch into like the actual song. And then the slowest build up possible of just this one single guitar. After every like minute and a half or so, they'll add another instrument until it builds and builds and builds. And then the climax of that song was like gigantic drone, gigantic wall of noise. You could hear everything clearly. I took out my earplugs for this one, and you could like hear, you could hear the amp like physically struggling to get that loud. That or my ear was like getting like tinnitus or whatever. But they did that. They sustained it, and then they looped it. So everybody has their own like pedal station at their stand. So the violinist, the three guitars, and the bassist all looped that part, and then one by one they started leaving the stage, and then everybody was off the stage. Like the concert has quote unquote ended, but they let that drone there for 5 minutes, so it's an empty stage of instruments still looping this thing at max volume as like this projector is kind of disintegrating, and then slowly one by one the amps start like shutting off one by one, until it's like one single instrument, and then that shuts off, and then they play the little excerpt at the end of F sharp A sharp. So they did the F sharp A sharp in real life, where they're like, okay, here's your little infinity, the album never ends sequence. They did that in real life. It was like absolutely insane. It was the wildest ending to a concert I've seen. But yeah, that was the most performative aspect of it, was like looping the instruments and walking off and just having the music ring Like there wasn't a whole lot going on with it because it's a looper pedal, so you can only put so much in there. But there was enough there where like the song was still moving a little bit, but everybody was just kind of like suspended in this noise. Like what's going on? Are we done? What's like what's happening? But oh, it was one of the wildest experiences you can have at a concert. It's very different than everything else you would get. It's very much a sit down and enjoy the music and less a like let's go to a concert and have a good time. It's like a you're about to get prepared for like a mind body experience when you walk in those doors. But yeah, one of the best concerts I've been to. It was incredibly different. That's all I wanted from it. I was a little sad they didn't do Sleep, but we kind of had like a luck of a draw on like what we were gonna get from the two original albums. But if I heard Sleep live, I might have combusted like in the arena. So I feel like that song does way too much. I feel like the crescendos on there would be way too much. But yeah, incredible show. I actually liked how there wasn't any talking or anything. It's very mysterious. They come on, and the lights are all dim. Everybody knows what's happening, and it just kind of plays out like that. So, 2 hours suspended in a giant wall of just vibrating noise and like very minimal parts that were like super meditative. I almost fell asleep during one of the songs, which is weird because I'm at a concert venue and it's like incredibly loud.
Yeah.
But, yeah, absolutely insane. And like we got 2 T-shirts and a record for like $80, which is kind of crazy for merch stands.
Yeah.
I think the T-shirts were only 30. Then they had a whole bunch of like informal like reading packets of like indigenous anarchism and stuff like that. So I got to read through those. But those are super sick. I'm like this is my kind of concert. I love this.
Yeah.
But yeah. Super cool. If you ever have the chance to go see him and you're somewhat interested in the music, just do it. It was definitely like a different way to view a concert. I don't think I don't know if it's my favorite concert I've been to, but it's definitely up there.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a good time.
Very good time. I think that's it for this week.
Nuh-uh.
I
got an update.
Oh my god.
Do. I listened to Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh.
I listened to it.
Yeah, I mean,
Kind of.
kind of.
I'm too much of a coward. You told me to listen to Western Wind
Yes.
and Go Find Yourself or whatever.
Yes.
I listened to from Western Wind to all of the bonus tracks, and I loved it.
There you go.
I love that they're all great. I saw someone describe The Loneliest Time as this is like a 5-minute disco song from an immigrant girl and an elderly gay man. And I thought that was kind of unfair. Rufus Wainwright is not that old.
A middle-aged gay man.
A middle-aged gay man is more accurate.
That's accurate,
yeah.
though.
I liked it. It. I don't know why I didn't really dig the first couple tracks. I have not gone back.
It's a lot more poppy.
Yeah, I don't really
I feel
care
like the
about
second
that.
half of the record gets a lot more. Well, there's still like disco elements on a lot of them, but like it's a lot more chill.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll go
that's why.
back.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a coward. I'm still enjoying just starting on track 8 and then going down.
Well, that's good. That's still like a whole album, kind of. It's like
Yeah,
8
pretty
songs,
much.
so.
It's
The bonus tracks go too hard for what they are. So.
yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. I still haven't listened to the whole thing. But you know,
You've listened to like a large majority of it, though.
yes, I have.
You don't even need to listen to Beach House. So
Is that one that you said was not good?
yeah, I don't like that one at all.
It's the most popular. Oh, that was the
Yeah.
single, wasn't it?
It was the first single.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why.
That's right. Okay. Well, yeah, I feel somewhat redeemed. I saw someone posted a comment on one of our videos I thought was really funny. It was like, it's about time Jerry became based or something. I don't remember what that was in reaction to. Oh, Jerry put sometimes in the winning playlist. About time he became based. It's a shame he didn't come around to the money store.
Oh, we got something out of him.
Yeah, he got something. So, hey, I haven't listened to it since the reaction came out, but I did put it in the winning playlist, so it means it's good. That's how those playlists work. Everything
True.
in the losing playlist is objectively bad, and everything in the winning playlist is objectively good. It's not subjective at all. It's science.
Exactly.
That's right. I'm a scientist. I liked Interstellar, remember?
So true.
All right. Well, I said this was going to be a short podcast, but we did end up having a lot more things to talk about than I thought. So.
That always happens.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So sorry for letting the people down. I know they were excited. They clicked on the podcast that was an hour and 20 minutes long, and then they heard us say it was going to be shorter, and then they got their hopes up that it was only going to be 30 minutes long. But little did they know that it was actually going to be an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yep.
So, sorry in advance. It's all of the Amazon podcast streamers. We're not on Amazon Podcast. We got an email to go on it, but I have not done that yet. So, sorry,
I didn't even know
Bezos.
Amazon had podcasts.
They do now, and they invited us to be on it.
That's awesome.
I know. We're really cool. So, okay, follow us on Amazon Podcast. And next week, we're going to be talking about God of War and Toy Story 3. Okay, bye.